Hello, welcome into the first anniversary of After Hours. I'm Stephen Ruffing, and I'm here on my off day as I'm dressed in some cash clothes. And last week there was a little discrepancy on our game, and Matt here is going to explain what happened.
Okay, so it came down to the last question between Steve and Danny, winner take all. And the question was, what name 3 NFL teams after I said a lot of people watched on Thanksgiving. And I gave the win to Steve, but as you can see right here, I made a mistake, like most people, like all people do. We make mistakes. And right there, you can see on the replay there, Danny just slightly beat Steve, and Steve answered the 3 NFL teams, and he won. So, guys, before we get started in the college football playoff preview, we have some business to take care of. I have one question on this piece of paper right here. And the winner will ultimately win the trivia from last week.
How are we gonna do the
It'll be
box?
too hard. Just
Rub Matt's beard.
right, yeah.
Oh, he's gonna get slapped.
Just raise your hand. All right. It's about high school football. Since both of you guys are on another CUTV show, High School Roundup, I thought it was very appropriate to do this. So here we go. Last week, West Mifflin beat Albert Gallatin 49-8. South Fayette beat Uniontown 63-7. Thomas Jefferson beat Greensburg-Salem 49-0. What is my name, Danny?
Matt.
Another discrepancy. That was me. That was me.
I don't know.
We're going to have to do another replay because
But-
that was me.
Well, I don't know, but only in instant replay in sports, you can only check it one time. But so, Danny, you have made redemption.
We're going to go look back at that.
It feels great, honestly. It does.
Now,
It feels great.
let's get down to the real show. College football playoff preview on.
And welcome into live After Hours here on CUTV. I'm your host for this college football playoff, Anthony D'Agostino, and alongside me I have a trio of guests of college football analysts and somewhat experts on college football and enthusiasts, if you will. I got Matt Hagee, I got Dylan Goday, and I got Danny Beck. Also, Dylan Goday, first time on After Hours today.
True.
Third time speaking on CUTV. So, Dylan, welcome to After Hours. How does it feel to be here?
Thank
Live.
you. It's great. This is a great show, so I'm glad to be a part of it.
Well, we are glad you're a part of it as well. Matt and Danny, you've been here before, live on After Hours. Matt, what's it like for you to be back?
I'm just here so I don't get fined. but seriously though, this is a great idea. And Ryan thought of this, our director, thinking, hey, this isn't a college football playoff preview because won't know the official rankings until December. But this is a college football playoff rankings preview, which the first rankings come out in October, and we're just going to talk about who we think is going to be in the 4 when those first rankings come out in October.
And Danny, again, you're back on the live episode of After Hours. What's it like for you talking about college football today?
It'll be interesting because I know somebody is gonna bring up Notre Dame and Michigan State, and I know that I'm gonna be made fun of and all this stuff. But rightfully so. Notre Dame lost to a very talented Michigan State team, so we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight.
Well, we're going to talk about that a lot today on After Hours, and not just that, but a lot of different highlights. As we go into last week's highlights right away, we're going to start with Louisville taking on Florida State. Florida State, a ranked team higher than Louisville, and Louisville come away with a victory, 63-20. Huge victory for Louisville against Florida State, and you're going to take a look at some of these highlights, guys.
And it starts and ends with that man right there, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has taken the college football world by storm this season. Here he has more touchdowns than already over 115 teams. That's crazy.
Yeah, and he's going to continue to do that. I mean, the only team that I see stopping them is Clemson. And, I mean, he's just a talent all across the board. He can throw the ball. He can run the ball. He's ridiculous. He's insane.
And the spotlight was really on them for that game against Florida State, and they shined better than a lot of teams have in recent years. So it's interesting to see how that team, a lot of questions going into that game, and they just absolutely destroyed Florida State.
I mean, not only beat them, like you said, destroyed Florida State, a big ranked team. Louisville, I believe, was ranked 10th. Florida State 8th. 2. Florida State was 2, and they beat them 63-20. I mean, that just doesn't happen with ranked teams like that, but it did, and they moved up in the rankings because of it. Alabama took on Ole Miss next. Alabama beat Ole Miss 48-43, but Ole Miss was leading 24-3 in the first half.
Yeah, and it was crazy, as you'll see on the highlights here. It looked like Ole Miss was going to get their third straight win over Alabama. You can see Chad Kelly there dropping dimes on the Alabama defense. And, everybody was singing hotty toddy around in Oxford. But like Alabama does, you can't sleep on the Crimson Tide and Nick Saban. And it just all started with this punt return right here.
And that's 2 out of the first 3 weeks for this Ole Miss team, just having a strong first half and then come back to second half and the end of the first half and just absolutely blowing huge leads, 20-point leads. It's just incredible how they've lost those leads coming into the second half.
Alabama is talented all over the board. I honestly do not even think it's fair for any team in college football. I mean, last year obviously they didn't win it, but it's crazy. It's just honestly, Alabama is just one of those schools that no matter what they do, they're going to beat anyone, and I don't know, it's crazy.
And you're going to see coming up here in the second half when Alabama's just rolling along with probably my favorite play of the whole day, other than Chad Kelly not looking so good again. And there's so many. Alabama's front seven has some grown men on it, and they can pressure any quarterback. They're probably the best defensive line in the country for the past couple of years. But they had a big man with the football run about like 60 yards for a pick six there in the second half. Pretty much sealed it for the Tide.
Well, Alabama does just a great job. I first saw them this year playing USC when we first were coming back to school. And, USC started off kind of well. It looked like Alabama may not be that great this year or a little bit down. But they kept it going. They kept it up, and they got under USC's skin like they do with all these teams. And these teams just keep falling to Alabama. Who can beat Alabama? Any decision, guys?
Maybe LSU, but it's just the SEC West is usually the big powerhouse in the SEC, and this year it's still one of the best, but it's not the SEC West that we've known in recent years. So maybe LSU because that's a big rivalry, but who really knows?
It's very top-heavy division. Very top-heavy division is the SEC West, and it's far superior than the SEC East.
Dan, you got a team that could possibly beat Alabama?
I honestly do not. I do not see a team, like you were saying, the SEC West is one of those divisions that really is a powerhouse, and I don't really see anybody topping Alabama this year.
Tennessee could be a tough game, too.
Right.
Tennessee.
Yes.
and LSU.
Yes.
Tennessee. We'll
true.
talk about
That's
that
true.
later, but Alabama has about 3 road games right in a row. Very tough team, so.
Well, we'll see if Alabama gets tested in those 3 road games. Ohio State taking on Oklahoma, a late-night game, and Ohio State dominated this Oklahoma team, winning 45-24. As you see the highlights right here, guys, this Ohio State team is for real.
And they probably made the biggest statement this week that said, hey, we're here. Everybody was doubting this team. And you can see Baker Mayfield, man, how have the mighty have fallen there. But this play right here, I want to talk about this because Joe Mixon here for Oklahoma, great kick return for a touchdown. Gets the Sooners back in the game temporarily. And it looks fine and dandy. Look at that. It's great stuff. Wait, I'm sorry. Did he drop the ball there? Oh, no. Not again. That touchdown shouldn't have counted, but they didn't review it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things you see in the NFL. They do that. You see that everywhere, and come on, just hang in the ball.
But this catch, though, Noah Brown.
Excuse me? Like, I watched that play. I said, no, that's incomplete, or he's out of bounds. No, he has it behind his back,
That's
on the
incredible.
defender's back. Unreal catch here for Ohio State, and this is how you know they're for real.
Yeah, and I don't know, David Tyree, does that have David Tyree's catch on the helmet?
It's pretty
I
tough.
don't know.
Considering the circumstances, since that was the Super Bowl and that was week 3 of the college football season. But Noah Brown, 4 touchdowns. But he's like, dude, those young Buckeyes, everybody doubting him. Doubting Urban Meyer, are you serious?
Yeah, it's
Let him 2 years ago.
can't do that.
Dylan, you were a football player. What is it like? You're on offense, you're the quarterback, you get the ball down to a receiver, they're running down the end zone, they drop it before the goal line. What are you thinking as a quarterback?
I'm just thinking, like, man, those are little things that you have to really keep in your head and just. I always taught you keep the ball handed to the official, never drop it or anything like that. But guys are trying to be fancy and stuff, so I understand that. But it's just one of those bonehead plays that you see really talented guys make all the time.
It's like they're cocky. They think they're in the end zone, they just drop it instead of running into the end zone like they're supposed to run with the football, and then hand it to the ref or flip it to the ref after you get in the end zone. It's not that hard to run into the end zone with the football, especially when there's no one tackling you.
Yeah,
it's
really.
not that difficult.
It doesn't get easier than that. It doesn't get easier than that.
But back to the Big 12, the Big 12, I always support them, and I always was the guy that was Baylor, TCU. They should have been in the top 4, but there's no more excuses. They've run out of excuses in the Big 12, so this is definitely a down year for the Big 12.
They are been the embarrassment. We also had Oklahoma. Oklahoma's done. Oklahoma's done. I mean, they lost to Houston. We'll talk about them later, the teams that failed. But Oklahoma, they're done. They're not coming back. I mean, they can beat Texas and whoever, but no, they're done.
And it's a shame because they were picked well in the preseason poll. They just fell flat on their face this season so far. And you got to think they're definitely out of the college football playoff now, maybe vying for a bowl spot, just to play in a bowl somewhere. So we'll see how they do then. California, not this California, the California out in the state,
Berkeley
took on Texas in this one. California came away with the victory 50-43. As you see some of these highlights here, what a job by Texas to start here.
Well, and Texas looked great. Deontay Foreman gave Texas the lead, but California, former quarterback of Texas Tech right there, Davis Webb, looking pretty nice there, gave Cal the lead. And here's the funny thing. Looks like Golden Bears, they got the win. But I'm kidding you not.
Oh my god.
No, not again.
Oh my god.
Wow.
So,
Like, what are you doing? Like, that should be a bro, seriously.
but it was already covered, but we'll get to that. But yeah, seriously, bro, seriously. But the interesting with that is, and I don't know if anybody else, they looked into it more, they actually ruled the ball down at the 1 yard line for the Golden Bears. And Texas had no timeouts there. So Cal took some knees, game over, upset made. Again, hit to the Big 12. But they said that Texas did not recover the ball in enough time. The ref said that. You could see in the clip that Texas player grabbed the ball as soon as he. I don't know. Apparently, it wasn't quick enough for the refs. But
There's something in the rule
digress.
books, probably like a little loophole that you have to go into, and
But if I'm a coach, I'm telling my guys, hold on to the ball, give it to the official. That's just you make a great play, and then the simplest thing of just dropping the ball ends it.
And this isn't new. Like, this has been happening. The first time I saw it was Deshaun Jackson.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
When he
What's
did
new?
that. I mean, it's been happening.
Former Cal Golden Bear.
Maybe he learned it from Cal.
Yeah,
from
maybe.
Cal. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you see it then. It's now a few years later, and it's still happening. Why?
There's no excuse. There's absolutely no excuse.
And back to that game again, to the Big 12, Texas could have really made a statement there by going into a tough Pac-12 opponent, and coming away with the victory. So then again, the Big 12 failing yet again, and especially after the big win against your team,
I know.
Notre Dame. So that could have been a huge
We're gonna go
statement
right
win
into that.
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
Big 12.
let's
It
go right
felt
into
good.
that.
It felt good that Cal lost to Texas.
We're gonna look at that right now. Michigan State, coming with the victory 36-28. And you see some of these highlights here, but this Michigan State team almost blew it, Danny.
Yeah, and honestly, all the kudos in the world to Tyler O'Connor and also their defensive line, their defense in general of Michigan State.
Yeah.
Michigan State just shut down any hopes of a comeback basically at the end of the game. Although they did get it close. They definitely came back. Like, I guess what the final score was 36-28.
Yep.
So they made a comeback, and here it is. And Kaiser, I don't know in the beginning of the season what was going through their head with Kaiser and Zaire. So Kaiser's definitely going to be the role in the end of
This
the year.
won the game right here, LJ Scott. Notre Dame didn't have any timeouts. Credit the Irish, though. I got a lot of respect for this team. Tough road. Losing all those defensive players in the NFL, though,
Yes.
it shows right there.
Yes.
21 unanswered points for Notre Dame, but unable to get the win. We're going to keep it moving here. An FCS school, North Dakota State, took on Iowa and came away with a huge upset, 23-21. And you look at some of these highlights here. I mean, I saw I think Colin Cowherd for Fox Sports has talked about Iowa, and he basically doesn't like Iowa. He has his eyes on Iowa. You can see why right here.
Yeah.
A bad strength of schedule, and they lose to North Dakota State.
But North Dakota State is probably an FBS school. 5-time defending FCS champion. Carson Wentz is a Philadelphia Eagle from that school. As you can see, North Dakota State getting the win there at the last second after missing a 2-point conversion. But right there, Easton, what's his name? It's
Easton Stick.
Easton Stick took over for Carson Wentz and picked up right where he left off.
In Iowa.
In
too.
Iowa.
In Iowa.
6 straight FBS opponents that North Dakota State's beat. Don't schedule the Bison. Don't schedule the Bison.
Do not schedule North Dakota State on that schedule. We're going to take a quick commercial break here on After Hours Live on CUTV today. Next up, teams that have failed so far in the college football. So stick around for that right here on After Hours on CUTV.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
The longest student-produced show on CUTV. Is back with highlights and analysis, scores and standings, and more. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
And welcome back to After Hours Live on CUTV today. We're going to get right into the teams that have failed so far this season. Oklahoma, Florida State, LSU, TCU, and Ole Miss all failed this season. Guys, pick out some. Each of you pick out a team that failed this season and give a little information. So we'll start with Matt.
All right, well, I could say that Florida State was in the catbird seat, but unfortunately for them, they had that great win over Ole Miss, but then they hit Louisville. And Lamar, we saw earlier, Lamar Jackson tore them up. But Florida State, here's the thing, my thing with Florida State. They're not done yet. They only have one loss, and they still have to play Clemson. Don't count out the Seminoles yet. And possibly if Louisville loses a couple games, they're not done. DeAndre Francois, they got too much talent on that team in Dalvin Cook.
Dylan?
Just being an Ole Miss fan, I'm disappointed in the way Ole Miss has played, especially the first half of their games. Being up by 20 points in 2 games and then not being able to come out with the win, especially Florida State. When they came out against Florida State in Florida, it wasn't a home game, but basically for Florida State, it was a home game, being in Orlando. And they dominated the whole first quarter of that game. And honestly, they dominated the Alabama game in the first half. Their defense and their quarterback, Chad Kelly, they hit a wall, and it's disappointing to see. They still have a chance, too, with only one SEC loss to maybe make something out of the season and win the SEC West, but that's a tough ask for them as well.
And Danny?
I'm going to go with LSU. Not only did they get upset by Wisconsin, a team that we're going to be talking about a little bit later, but also, Leonard Fournette, you got to use him. And they have been using him, but they need to use him more, I think. And not only that, just their quarterback play isn't there. They really have to utilize that aspect as well, because a team is not going to be ran by one player. And I mean, although I think Leonard Fournette could be that player, which I think that they kind of need to use him as that player, it's a team effort. And I think that everybody needs to just come together. LSU really needs to shake everything off. They were ranked 4th in the preseason poll. And then they just flop like this. I think that they really need to get their shoestraps tied back up and move on in the season.
You took the words right out of my mouth with that quarterback play. It's been holding them back since they last won it about the 2007 season with good old Matty Flynn back there under center. That's a name. But TCU, too. They opened the season against South Dakota State, which I actually have a South Dakota State shirt from being out at South Dakota State. But the Jackrabbits had a 24-7 lead on them. TCU came back. And that was a warning flag. But then Arkansas comes right in their place in Fort Worth and knocks them off. So TCU, again, going into the Big 12, not looking so good. Many people pick TCU to win the Big 12. So that's a big thing right there.
Especially with their experience, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to move in now to the top teams, the teams that have done admirably and have performed very well so far this season. And to name some of them, Alabama, Ohio State, Louisville, and Michigan, all right here on my first page here. Alabama, again, number 1 team, but I want to talk a little more about this Ohio State team. They are stacked so far with their wide receivers and J.T. Barrett.
Well, J.T. Barrett's a Heisman candidate. I mean, he's been a Heisman candidate for the past couple of years, but I think this is his season to make a statement, prove everyone that was doubting them in the preseason wrong with Noah Brown, Mike Weber Jr. at tailback. They got a defense, too. So that's something to watch out for. But that Big Ten East is great. I mean, you talk about SEC West, Big Ten East. Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State.
Yeah, they've taken over the reins as the toughest conference in my book, the toughest division in conference. And it's so lopsided compared to the other half of the conference that it's incredible to think that you have 2 of the best teams in the country in Michigan and Ohio State, and one of the teams can't even play in their championship game. To me, that's a disgrace, but that just shows the powerhouse of the Big Ten East.
Well, that brings up a good point. You know, the college football playoffs rankings are going to come out soon, and they take in conference championships. Since Michigan and Ohio State can't play in the same conference championship, do you think that they might pick 2 from the same division of that conference?
I don't see that as being honestly fair. I mean, although that would be awesome to see, that's pretty much a championship game in that situation. Being that they can't play in that basically. I don't know. I think that other conferences, other divisions, stuff like that, I think that they need to have a shot as well to get in there.
And I think honestly that Michigan, Ohio State potentially could be like the days when we saw Alabama and LSU when they both played in the national championship game. That could be a scenario like this season where if they both go into that big game, Michigan and Ohio State, and they're both undefeated, and the loser of that doesn't get to play in the championship, I think they still get into the Final Four.
Yeah, it
so,
has to.
I mean, that's what it'll come down to. They both have to go in that game undefeated if they want to make it to the college football championship.
Well, to make that happen, like you said, Ohio State or Michigan, or even Michigan State, they're both undefeated, and one of them stays one loss because they can't. Only one can lose in the Big Ten championship. The other team that has the one loss from that team, if it's Ohio State, let's just say Ohio State, Michigan. That's what everyone said. Ohio State, Michigan, undefeated, just like 2006. Michigan loses. Just say Michigan loses. Ohio State goes Big Ten championship, wins it. Michigan's just as deserving to get in.
Yeah, definitely.
They have one loss. What if everybody else has 2 losses? What if Stanford has 2 losses? What if Louisville has 2 losses and won the ACC? You never know. In that case, absolutely, I think because Michigan and Ohio State might be the 2 best teams in the country. You never know.
I think they may have 2 of the best coaches in the country.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
I think Urban Meyer. I'm gonna say right. Urban Meyer is the best coach in the country. Sorry, Nick Saban.
I was just gonna say, well, Nick
I don't
Saban.
disagree. I mean, but also Clemson, Houston, and Stanford. We already talked about Stanford a little bit. Clemson team, they're a little shaky in my opinion. They haven't looked great, and I don't know if they're still upset about their loss against Alabama, but they just don't look the same this year than they did last year.
I think they're going to come out with fire, though, because knowing their coach, Dabo Swinney, he's going to get them pumped up. He's saying, listen, we haven't lost a game yet this year, and we're dropping in the polls. And knowing the coach that Dabo Swinney is, he's going to let his players know that. And I think they're going to come out a different team the second half of onto this middle part of the season.
You still have Deshaun Watson back there. And you also got Hunter Renfrow, who had that big title game against Alabama. He's really emerging as one of the best receivers in college football. But you still got Deshaun Watson on the team, and I think that's still good enough for me. You're going to make their statement, not this week, next week, at home, Louisville. It's been named Saturday night football game. Game day's probably going to be there again, although Louisville already won the game day game. But Death Valley, any team in there, good luck.
That atmosphere is just, especially when
Maybe
they
the
do the
most
bus trip around, that's one of the
dangerous,
greatest things in sports
Yeah,
right
that is
there.
Awesome.
And then Stanford, Pac-12 favorite. Christian McCaffrey, huge Heisman favorite. Guys, quickly talk about this Stanford team, and we'll already see where they may end up in our pick 'em later. But quickly talk about this Stanford team, Matt.
Oh, you just said it, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
Doesn't it?
honestly,
Christian
honestly,
McCaffrey. That's all you
honestly.
need. Christian McCaffrey. I think with Lamar Jackson, him and Lamar Jackson are the Heisman favorites right now. That could change, but Christian McCaffrey will not let this team lose. However, at UCLA this week's Saturday Night Football, at Washington. That at Washington game, that's going to turn some tables because Washington's a dark horse this year. I didn't even realize this, but then they're for real.
I showed you that before college football started, that Washington's a dark horse, and we'll see how they do against Stanford, guys.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody can stop Christian McCaffrey. It's one of those things as well. I mean, we were talking before, and you were saying that like he's like basically the only player on that Stanford team that people know. Honestly, if you think about it, like who else from Stanford do you honestly like?
The quarterback.
Exactly. And I just think that Christian McCaffrey is their favorite, and I think he's going to win the Heisman as well.
And they always have that strong Stanford line that they're known for having. So him behind that line, it's really unfair for the rest of the Pac-12. Yeah, he's a special player to watch.
And they beat USC pretty handily at home. But like I said, they have all their tough road games. I mean, I mentioned UCLA, Washington in conference. That's big enough. At Oregon as well. And, their non-conference game at Notre Dame, South Bend.
Yeah.
They haven't won Notre Dame in 10 years.
You know Notre Dame's going to be fired up after the season, after their season started
I
up.
hope.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, they'll give it their all.
Well, we'll see how all that plays out. We have another commercial break coming up for you, but right after that, we got our Bro Seriously coming up next. Don't want to miss that. Some crazy bad plays coming up on After Hours right here on CUTV.
For almost 30 years, CUTV has been the campus and community home for local news, sports, and entertainment. Broadcast in 100,000 homes in southwestern Pennsylvania, CUTV provides complete coverage of Vulcan sports as well as high school football coverage. Broadcast weekly live, CUTV News Center provides coverage of local and campus events, weekend weather, sports highlights, and feature stories. For more information on CUTV, check us out on the web, friend us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Since 1937, the Student Association Incorporated, known as SAI, has served the Cal U student body by providing activities, programs, and services. Every enrolled student has the ability to take part in over 125 different clubs and organizations. Managing participation in every SAI activity is easy with OrgSync, a powerful tool for staying connected. Located 1 mile from campus, the SAI Farm has 94 acres of meeting and recreational space. SAI, it's your student association.
Save preset 1 for Cal U's best music. More music in the car, more music in the door, more music everywhere. This is 91.9 WCAL Power 92. The home of the Vulcan Nation. Playing Cal U's best music. 91.9 WCAL. WCAL Power 92.
And welcome back into After Hours here on CUTV live on this college football playoff preview show. I said we're going to get into bro seriously, and I'm not wrong. We are going to get into bro seriously. But first, we have the college football playoff rankings that we think are going to come to fruition at the end when the actual college football rankings come out.
And you can see, we remember, this looks familiar because we did this last year, but consensus between all of us, we all had Alabama #1 to start out with, and I think that's pretty much going to be everybody's list come October.
Oh, yeah. And Jalen Hurts, I think, is
Number 2, Ohio State for all of us, so for most of all of us so far. Again, this is the average. Louisville, number 3. Number 4, as we wait, Michigan. Michigan's number 4. Some people think that's Michigan's going to be number 4.
And then you said it right there, top 4. But this is where, and we even tossed the other 5 and 6 in right here. Alabama, Ohio State, Louisville, Michigan, Stanford, and that cute little tree down there. And then the team we haven't talked about yet, Houston Cougars, who've been one of the best stories this year with Greg Ward. They made a statement with against Oklahoma, and if they're in the American Conference, they're as a non-Power 5 school, and if there's always a team that can cause some damage. It used to be Boise State, but now it's Houston.
And hopefully they are no longer in that conference here soon. Hopefully the Big 12 takes them and takes them with them, because they would be a special team to watch in the Big 12.
Anyway, here's what I thought. I had Alabama, Ohio State, Louisville, and Stanford. This is what I think. I think Stanford, if they can get through that stretch of UCLA and Washington, I think they should easily be in the top 4, because those are 2 quality wins right there, even though UCLA lost to Texas A&M, but especially at Washington. And I didn't have Stanford in my top 4 to start the season because I worry about their quarterback play. It's been steady so far, but with Christian McCaffrey, you can't doubt them. And I think Louisville goes into Clemson and knocks them off. I think Lamar Jackson is just going to be the story this year, and I think they looked unstoppable, like you said.
As we go in to the next person's picks, Danny.
Yeah, I went with the consensus and kind of went with Bama and Ohio State. Stanford, Christian McCaffrey. And you guys all picked Louisville, but I don't know. I feel like Clemson's going to knock off Louisville. And so I put in Clemson. I bumped them in there, and I pretty much went with, Clemson was picked as like number 1 last year as well, too. So I think that they're going to continue this next year. But my 5 and 6 get kind of a little bit shaky. Glad they didn't put them up there because I was doing some research after, and I was just like, all right, these picks are kind of different.
You know, hey, these aren't what we think is official. We just think that this is what's going to happen in October, so it's okay.
There's always surprise teams.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yes.
Houston.
Exactly.
All right, my picks. I think, again, consensus, Alabama, Ohio State. I think Louisville rides this run all the way out into the college football playoffs. And then Michigan, number 4. I think they're deserving of that number 4 spot as well. We kind of talked about that earlier in the show. With Ohio State and Michigan both get the spot. I think Michigan definitely will, especially if they go undefeated like we talked about earlier. However, dark horse that maybe make an appearance, Michigan State and Houston. I have them at my 5 and 6. Didn't see them in here.
Michigan State.
But Michigan State, keep an eye out for them. They're a dark horse in my opinion.
Yeah. And that means Dylan.
Yeah, now on to my picks. I have Bama at number 1, like everyone else. I just think they're the most powerful team in the country. And then we're going to go to Michigan next. I think the winner of the Michigan State-Ohio State game gets this number 2 spot, and the other person will be number 4. I think both of those teams will go into that game undefeated, like we were talking about earlier, and the winner of that gets that number 2 spot. Louisville, I think Clemson, Louisville, and Florida State will all split games with each other. Make it very interesting there in the ACC. And I think Louisville will come out on top because they'll beat that tough Houston team. And then again, Ohio State, number 4. That's just going to be that's the game I'm looking forward to the most this season is Michigan, Ohio State. The rivalry is back in glory like it was 10 or so years ago. And I'm a fan of both teams, and I'm very excited for that game.
It's going to be great. This is actually your scenario of the 3 tying. This happened in the 2008 season with Oklahoma and Texas. Remember, Texas beat Oklahoma that year with Colt McCoy against Sam Bradford. Now, those are some names.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Texas lost to Texas Tech. Remember, Michael Crabtree had that crazy game. Oklahoma got hot at the end of the season, and they were ranked ahead of Texas, so they got to appear in the old Big 12 championship game that they wish they still had. Oklahoma wins it. Oklahoma gets in the title game, and not Texas. But it's because Oklahoma was ranked ahead of them, and Oklahoma got hot at the right time. Texas got their run early, so that could be an interesting scenario for the rankings to appear out there. But for Michigan, Jabril Peppers is a bad man. He's a bad man.
He can line up wherever and
Anywhere.
get to the quarterback.
He's the only defensive player that can win the Heisman this year, and the way he's played, man, he's a treat. He's a treat to watch.
And you know Harbaugh loves him. You know Harbaugh. That's the guy that Harbaugh wants on his team more than anyone else.
He's a Harbaugh player,
Yeah,
that's for sure.
definitely.
But I mean, Michigan. You also have Jake Butt, the tight end, as well. I mean, he's one of the more seasoned guys as well. But this Michigan team, remember, they have to go to Michigan State, too, at East Lansing and at Columbus. So they're going to have to be battle-tested on the road and at Iowa, too, which is never easy, even though they lost to North Dakota State. But Michigan has not won in East Lansing since 2007, and they've not won in Columbus since 2000. So they have to shake off those demons if they want to make it to the Big Ten championship and do more.
And I think they're going to remember that game against Michigan State last year.
Oh, yeah, we all do.
The craziest play since the Alabama kick six. I mean, that was incredible play, and you know Harbaugh's going to let his guys know that can't happen again this year.
Yeah. So it's just gonna be great. We don't know what's gonna happen, but this is what we think's gonna happen as the season goes along.
We like to know. We like to think.
We like to think we're right, but comes a time. But I think it's gonna be great. Anybody could appear. I like I said, watch out for the Washington Huskies. Yeah. We might be seeing the W graphic come into the screen very soon. But remember, Chris Peterson, former Boise State coach, undefeated team with that 2016. So he got a good head coach. I forgot he was there. But nobody talks about Washington. And I like different teams in there. That's why I like Michigan because they never really have been there. But Washington as well, and Louisville. It's a lot of parity this year in college football. That's why college football is my favorite.
We'll make sure that if any of our picks were right, or even close to right, that we'll make sure we do a little backflash or flashback on whenever the college football rankings come out, and hopefully we have a show about that. But now we're going to get into the segment that we all love here. Bro, seriously. Bruh.
Seriously. And we got some good ones.
We're going to kick it off with Clemson. I mean, I was riding the Clemson wagon last year. Love Clemson. Almost thought about going there, but Clemson, bro, what are you doing? It's Ray Jackson for Clemson. We're going to see this again. We saw this on some highlights already. Ray Jackson breaking some tackles, losing part of his shoe there. Bro.
No.
Oh, my gosh.
What are you doing?
Seriously?
This is an epidemic in college football.
I don't get it. This was before the Oklahoma and California players. Oh, my gosh.
That ball's still in play, too.
Yeah.
It bounced. Oh, actually, no, it did bounce out. I thought that ball might have been still in play. They could have done something with that.
But, like, come on. Like, bro, seriously.
Next, we move on to Nevada. Ake Muhammad, the safety. Well, there will be a safety on this kickoff. You take a look here. Danny, this is your team, Notre Dame here.
Oh, no.
Getting some free points.
Yeah, I saw that. Did not even realize that happened in that game. I don't know. I didn't put the two and two together, but weird. Really weird. Like, if you're a kick return, you have to have that awareness, just like Terrence Williams and the Giants, have to have that awareness to know where you are on the field. If you're going to take a knee, know that you're in the end zone and not a yard out or whatever. I mean, like, what are you doing? Like, bro, seriously.
Bro,
like, he had it in the end zone, and then he takes one step, two steps, and then back in the end zone with his first step and takes the knee.
This isn't dance class.
I think his knee was in the end zone. I think that's what he was thinking. Like, it was in.
The Titans did this against the Steelers a couple years ago in the first play of this season.
I do have an excuse for that, though. I've seen that a couple times. I think it's more a Nevada player in Notre Dame, a huge stadium. I think it's a little jitters. He's like, oh, man, should I take this out? Or, so a little bit of excuse. But seriously, that's been done many times before. That should be one of the top things in your head.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and losing at the time too. So.
Bro, seriously? As we continue on, South Carolina State now, this highlight. Ahmad Harris. This is back with Clemson here. And he doesn't take a live grenade. Ref doesn't want to touch it. Safety. Oh, actually, it's a touchdown.
Yeah,
For
they
a
didn't touch
touchdown.
it, yeah.
You got it. Take a knee there, son. The ref doesn't want the ball. I mean, that's like a grenade. The ref's like, whoa, 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 what are you doing?
The ESPN guys on Monday Night Football yesterday, they have their own segment called Come On Man, and that was one of them. And the one one announcer, broadcaster, literally called it, live grenade, and the referee's getting out of the way. And Clemson jumps on that live grenade and gets the 6 points out of it. But seriously, bro, what are you doing? One more for you here. Virginia. The Virginia Cavaliers. You look right here. QB Kurt Benkert runs the ball in 4th down and no timeouts, and then tries to run the field goal unit.
They're taking
what
a
are you
while.
doing?
They're taking their good old time. I mean,
No
it's not like game's on the
timeouts.
line. He's hurt. I mean,
No timeouts.
This has been Virginia story stuff like
Yeah.
this for the last
They
couple of
lost to
years. though.
Richmond this year.
Yeah, it's just
Taking a good
They
old
got
time.
They got time. Oh my
2
gosh.
seconds.
Kicker's going through his little rotation,
Oh,
and
man.
it was blocked.
And it was blocked. And UConn wins it. But seriously, it eerily reminiscent of 2 weeks ago where the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants were playing, and they didn't get out of bounds and tried to scramble to spike the ball on 4th down to try to get the kicking unit out. It didn't make any sense.
Dylan, I can see you just shooting him. with
But
that stuff.
here's the thing, though. In that situation, like, Des Bryant knew the situation. Everybody on Virginia was just like, yeah, no, we're going to have our field goal unit out. We're going to kick our field. Yeah, we're just going to kick this field goal. We're going to win or tie the game. Like, what are you doing? Like, you have no timeouts. Like, that's ridiculous.
And you could have expected that from the rookie quarterback or
Yeah.
rookie running back for the Cowboys, and no, it was one of our receivers, a semi-veteran receiver making a play like that.
Well, we're going to send it to commercial break real quick here. We got our picks for this week's upcoming week on college football. Stay tuned for that and more live on After Hours here on CUTV.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate, and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason. Because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
For almost 30 years, CUTV has been the campus and community home for local news, sports, and entertainment. Broadcast in 100,000 homes in southwestern Pennsylvania, CUTV provides complete coverage of Vulcan sports as well as high school football coverage. Broadcast weekly live, CUTV News Center provides coverage of local and campus events, weekend weather, sports highlights, and feature stories. For more information on CUTV, check us out on the web, friend us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter.
And welcome back to After Hours Live on CUTV here today. We got picks for you for this week's college football games. And you're going to take a look for our pick-ems. Wisconsin at Michigan State. And everyone picks Michigan State except for Danny. Why are you picking Wisconsin?
I think there's a rookie quarterback that's coming in. Not a rookie, but a younger quarterback. This is going to be his first career start. So I'm just going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that he helped the Badgers hold off Georgia State. When I read it first, I thought it said Georgia, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. Georgia State, so different. a lot different. No, but I think that the only challenge he really will have is their defense for Michigan State, because they're pretty good. So, I mean, hopefully they can get past him, and hopefully his first career start will end in a victory for Wisconsin.
And they upset LSU too, so that's not a bad pick.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
game. High noon is that game. So right off the bat, college football, jumping right into it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how that one turns out. We're going to move on to the next pick'em game, as we await the graphic for you. Arkansas at
TV.
Texas A&M. I don't have mind reading capabilities. Everyone's going A&M except for Matt. Why are you picking Arkansas?
Because one, I think Texas A&M is very overrated. Sorry, Trevor Knight. But I think Arkansas. I think this is Arkansas's year. There's always been Arkansas. They can't win the big game. They beat TCU on the road. They're going back to the state of Texas. Brandon Allen is their quarterback. Arkansas gets the dub.
Well, we'll see how that pans out. You know, we all think A&M should win this one, but Oklahoma State at Baylor, it's a split decision. Oklahoma State, I pick Oklahoma State, so did Dylan. Matt and Danny picked Baylor. Dylan, why are you picking Oklahoma State in this one?
I think there's just too much controversy surrounding this Baylor team. They have too many distractions on and off the field. So I think Oklahoma State, after a weird game they had this past week with a lightning delay and stuff, I just think that they're going to come out with a strong victory here against a pretty good Baylor team.
Matt, you were nodding your head there with the controversy. Why did you pick Baylor then?
Well, I picked Baylor because when I picked Oklahoma State to beat them last year in Stillwater, and they lost to Baylor. So I think Baylor gets the win. I think last time Oklahoma State played in Waco, they lost too. But Baylor still got a good team. Seth Russell's a good quarterback. And then their running back, I think his name's Shockwood or something like that. He set Baylor's all-time rushing record, and they don't really run the ball. But I think Oklahoma State too inconsistent. Baylor at home, Bears.
Well, we take a look now at another pick'em. Florida at Tennessee. Everyone going with Tennessee here. The Volunteers at home, and you got to think when Tennessee's at home, basically all the fans, it's all Tennessee all the time. With the Rocky Top song and all that, whenever Tennessee's out there, they band plays it all the time, whenever they can. Florida, I don't think the Gators, they don't have a chance here at Tennessee. I mean, we'll see what happens, but you never know. As we continue along in our pick here, Georgia at Ole Miss. I'm going with Georgia. I think Ole Miss, they're failing so far. I mean, I just don't know if Ole Miss can handle it, guys.
They kept up with Alabama, though. I mean, they fought against Alabama and stuff like that, although they still got the loss. But I don't know. I just think that Ole Miss is gonna take this one. I mean, I can see where you pick because Nick Chubb and all that stuff. I think that their run game will be very good. But I just think Ole Miss is gonna bounce back after last week's game, and I think that they're gonna come back with a vengeance.
I think Ole Miss they're gonna have to figure this out.
Yeah,
they have too good of a team to not be able to play 4 quarters. Way too good of a team to not finish it out. I mean, they look like maybe the best team in the country the first quarter against Florida State. Yeah. So, I mean, I think they're going to right the ship here and finish out with a pretty good season.
Well, the Grove's going to be popping again. It's one of the best. I was saying to you before, it's one of the best tailgating spots in college football. But I think there's just Chad Kelly. You got to be more consistent, dude. You got to be more consistent at home. But SEC, I'm going with Ole Miss here because SEC West greater than SEC East, which is very top-heavy with Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida. So I like the Rebels. They got to get this because even though they, like you said earlier, they still got a chance to win the SEC West somehow, but they need a little help.
Well, that's going to do it for the college football portion of this After Hours episode, this live After Hours episode. Hope you all enjoyed it. We really enjoyed talking about college football with you today. But there's this special anniversary today, so after the commercial break, we're going to take a look at After Hours in the past because it's the 1 year of After Hours coming up here on Friday, and we're shooting on Tuesday. But 1 year of After Hours, take a look back at After Hours in the past right after the commercial break, right here on CUTV.
Those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
The longest student-produced show on CUTV. is back with highlights and analysis, scores and standings, and more. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
And welcome back to After Hours Live here right on CUTV. And guys, it's the 1 year anniversary of After Hours.
Wow.
And I mean, it's great. Great to be here. And it's continuing on. It's in its third season now. And 1 year. Can't believe it.
I can't believe it. I remember the first show like it was yesterday. But, man, Ryan Kaufman had this idea for the show last year. And I bought into it right away. And I'm glad that it's still going. Even when I graduated from undergrad, left the semester. Glad to see it still went. The episodes were great. It's great doing the show. It really is.
Yeah, it's grown into, we've seen entertainment portions, we've seen kind of the pushing away of the sports, which now it's back. You know, we're happy that's back, and hopefully it stays. Hopefully it sticks, right? No, but I mean, it's just grown, it's evolved, and it's cool to see like this growing with different hosts now, with Steve as being a host. It's really cool to see though.
And don't forget games, all the activities and games that we've done. And you're going to take a look at, Matt Hagee compiled a video for you all of previous After Hours things that have happened in episodes and segments.
The best of.
Best of After Hours is what we're going to call it. So we're going to roll that right now. And you're going to see some of the crazy things that we did previously on After Hours.
And welcome into the very first edition of After Hours here on CUTV. This is a late night type of show, topical, you know, just your best buddies here with you.
Welcome back to the Super Bowl edition of After Hours. I am Stephen Ruffing, and alongside me is my 3 puppy monkey babies.
They shouldn't have run this play because.
Yeah, I am still here.
Which one of the following sports has Ricky Stafford not played? Oh my gosh. Football, hockey, lacrosse, or baseball?
Lacrosse.
You got it.
Yes!
Let's go!
Growth!
Yes!
All right, guys.
The real Jumanji game. I mean, that's the real thing. And we have an equipment room back in this hallway here. There's the Jumanji game stuck with like old equipment, old tapes, just weird broken tables like cameras and monitors that don't work. And then there's the Jumanji game because that's where it goes, right? So it's the real one, and I refuse to. Come on, man. Come on.
Let's play it. I just don't know why. How is it that big of a deal if you haven't like here? Let me open it real quick.
Don't open it. No. Welcome into our first ever edition of Live After Hours. I'm Ryan Kaufman, along with my esteemed panel of nuclear physicists. We have Mike Mays, Cheyenne White, Matt Hagee, Anthony D'Agostino striking a pose wearing stage crew clothes, and Stephen Ruffing. Hi guys, we're live.
We should have gotten this. It looks like he broke all his arms in the neck.
He's that guy from SpongeBob.
I wake up every morning and break my arm. Every night I break my legs.
To radio TV. What do you call a person who studies biology?
Biologist.
Yes. Team 2, 4. Make a rap about a person in the room.
Ready? Go.
Ryan Kaufman. He's no Hoffman. I'm trying to get soft man because you ain't one.
Oh, he got that in.
Yeah.
He got that in. I'd say he nailed
So
it.
good he knocked me back. So, I'll bite the bullet. I'm biting the bullet, guys.
Uh-oh, he's about to take a bite.
That looks like pudding.
No, this is not pudding. I smelled it. Do I think is it?
It's about whatever bite you
Okay,
want.
is this a joke? Are we the only 4 people
Dude,
in
this
CUTV
is
that have
mayo.
it?
This is.
Dude, you got it. Is it mayo? You can't tell us what it is when you take a bite of it.
Okay, I can't.
Once you're committed.
You're committed.
I know
Just
it.
go down the hatch. Down the hatch.
Let's do it.
Yummy.
Yeah, it's really good.
That tasted good.
Long. I really love Madden, and I think that's why I'm the best Madden player.
There is absolutely no way that you're better than me. I beat Mike 62 to nothing.
You beat Mike. Man, nobody can beat me. Nobody can beat me. That's why I'd say I got all the best players. All my players have the highest stats, and I can beat anyone.
You probably make them all your best stats.
No.
You probably
That's
rank
how
your
they-
team
that's
up.
how they're on the team.
There is no way that you're better
man,
than me at Madden.
No, I would totally beat you.
I
Oh
can
my
take
God,
on
I
with
would
any team in the
throw you
NFL.
down. I would just throw Hail Marys and dimes
I can
on you.
throw
the whole-
passes all over the field, and you can't.
But tonight is going to be a very special kind of night. Through all the heartaches, the tears, the blood, the sweat that we all put in, it's going to end in this episode right now. These guys don't know what we're going to be talking about. We're just going to wing it. I don't know what I'm talking about, but we're going to go big, or we're going to go home, because this is only the last semester of this last episode of this semester, and we'll be back on the fall semester. Roll the titles. Let's go. Let's get it over with.
So, questions and fire away, and I'm interested. I'm interested.
Well, hold on, we have a little intro for it.
Oh my goodness. Yo. And shout out to J.R. Wheeler for making all those graphics.
Well, there's one more. We thought we were playing trivia about you tonight, and while you did get super excited about that, we thought, oh, cool, we actually have to do that. We're actually, instead of a roast, we're going to do a toast.
What? Yeah. So that explains the no questions. Exactly. I'm back.
Weird things to hear when entering the bathroom, because God knows we use the bathroom a lot.
Ryan laughing.
Is it Lil Wayne?
I'm sorry, it is not. Mike Mays.
Justin Bieber?
No!
Wait, was that an option?
Chris Brown.
Yes, you're right.
Good night.
You just saw the after hours in the past, or montage of all our favorite after hours moments that we had in the past year. Some of them were last week. Some of them were from the first episode when we were at the table on the other side of the room there with the after hours neon sign and everything. That has kind of changed now. We're back at the news desk and whatnot. We kind of found our identity finally on After Hours. We bounced around a bunch of different sets. So good to be back. And Dylan, it's your first time on After Hours. So good to be making some memories with you that hopefully this show continues on for another year and many more years. And maybe you'll be a part of that montage in next coming years.
Yeah, definitely. I hope so. I mean, last year I was kind of busy, but this year I'm really looking forward. Getting involved with CUTV is great. And to all of you out there that want to get involved, I mean, it's definitely probably the best time I have here is being with you guys. So I really enjoy it. And anybody out there that wants to join CUTV, I highly recommend it.
He took the words right out of my mouth, and it's great having you here. And we had a lot of fun tonight, and we're a family here, and we love making quality television. We made it tonight, and then we could see right there all those clips, man. That's some great stuff.
And Matt, you weren't even planning on being back this year.
No.
It's funny because we said the toast of Matt Hagee, and then it went right into I'm back.
Yeah.
And so good to have Matt Hagee back with us, the college football aficionado, if you will, for us here today. And Danny Beck, always good to have him on the air as well. But you can't be remiss without mentioning Steve. You saw him in the cold open. Steve is the guy that is the host of this show 9 times out of 10. And major props to him for hosting the show. Does a great job. He's in the door. Does a great job. And always good memories when Stephen Ruffing is on the air, whether it's high school roundup. Steve, get in here.
Out here.
Get in here, Steve. Get it on camera. Steve, it's always been great whenever you're on the air.
Thank you.
So good having him. Also, our producer, Ryan Kaufman. This thing wouldn't happen without Ryan Kaufman. So Ryan Kaufman's going to come out here
Yeah.
too because
The After Hours GOAT.
No one's
GOAT.
directing.
GOAT. As Ryan Kaufman needs to direct and produce here. Thanks to Stephen Ruffing.
He needs to do his moral support. That was his job time. Was moral support.
Steve is
so-
moral support today for Ryan Kaufman. Also, the entire crew here today running 3 cameras and whatnot. It's awesome. So thank you for watching this live episode of After Hours on CUTV. It was great to be here with you all, talking about college football and reminiscing about old After Hours things as well, and After Hours episodes. We hope to be doing this for many more years to come, even after all of us graduate. So hopefully we keep this going. Thanks again for watching After Hours right here on CUTV. We'll see you next week.